My Mecca name is Blia Schwan, and my Hmong name when I came to the U.S. is Blia Vang. I'm 59, believe it or not, and I turned 50 in 2015, so I will turn 60 this year in the eve of the 50th year of Hmong in America. So when I came to the Chippewa Valley, I was 14 years old. Our family actually came from the refugee camp, and then we came to Kankakee, Illinois. We were there for a couple months, and then we made a second migration to the Chippewa Valley because there were more Hmong people here, and so we came here in 1980. When I was in Kankakee, I went to a school where there were no Hmong students. I was the only one, and so it was a relief just coming here, seeing Hmong people and seeing Hmong students. It was also very hard because we didn't speak English. We, had a lot of people who were really angry that, why did the Hmong, come to Chippewa Valley? They were angry. They said we were here taking their resources, and just not understanding. We would get a lot of harassments, being pushed at school, being called names. It was a kind of like a sad time, we didn't know what to do. So all we did was just like take everything in and, focus on learning English. And, just really it's just about learning how to survive. I think the biggest challenge was just really the language barrier, not being able to speak the language. And then also with older parents who were not able to drive. At the same time, they were not able to go to school either because they were in their early 60s when we came. And so literally, I think the challenge for me was just I had to learn how to be a provider. So I would go to school all day, and then I would come home, and then I would help my parents. And then also like the other Hmong families, I remember they would be at home waiting for me to come and help them fill out their forms, even though I didn't know a lot, I was an interpreter, but I was kind of like, the one support that a lot of the families needed. School was really, really hard, like you would go to school all day, you would come home, and you would study all night until the birds are chirping, because you literally like have to take a word, break it apart, and then try to look if there's a Hmong dictionary available. But back then we didn't have Hmong dictionary either, so just really like learn everything by pieces. When I was growing up, I participated in Hmong New Year's. I volunteer on those type of things, help with culture shows, doing dance performings. Then when I got older, I started to just, continue those type of things, like helping Hmong families with whatever they need, supporting the Hmong Association with their efforts, and if they need something, I would volunteer my time and help them with that. I participated in a lot of the community committees in the Chippewa Valley, such as like the Eau Claire City's Racial Task Force, Clear Vision, those type of things, just to represent the Hmong voice, right? Like, what is it, that, what our needs are, and, what can the city help, what can we do to work together to support our Hmong community, but at the same time, how do we get our Hmong community to be engaging in the larger community? And then the Hmong community, I do a lot of things such as hold workshops and things like that for Hmong families to help them better understand all the things that are happening in the community, working closely with Hmong Association, Hmong churches, and then within my job, I've done a lot of collaborations with outside organizations just to meet the needs of among students and their families. I have participated in probably close to 25 to 30 different committees and collaborations throughout the Hmong community and the larger community, just to really make life better for our families, because this is our home. We are your neighbors, we are your friends, we are your co-workers, and we are your teachers, doctors, and that we just really need to be able to come together. In my 25 years in education, is that I have seen that generations of Hmong students who are proud of who they are. The majority of our youth are very resilient, and they can go back and forth between the two culture, but there are still some that still struggle. And I think learning about the Hmong culture and Hmong identity is important, not just for our Hmong youth, but it's for everybody, because we are the state with the third state with the largest Hmong population, so we're not going anywhere, and we're continuing growing, and it's very beneficial for others to also learn about the Hmong and our identity and our culture too. But definitely, I would say the students Hmong Club, they loved learning about who they are and sharing their culture and identity with non-Hmong students too. Just 50 years ago, we had a lot of elders who put their blood, on the line. My parents came, they gave up everything that they knew to come to America, and that's the thing was that, today, I had the opportunity to go to school and be the educator, and live a good life here in America. But my parents didn't have that. My father faced a lot of racism. He came to a country where he didn't know anything. He didn't speak the language. He never learned how to work. He never learned how to drive. He tried to learn English, but he was older, and it was hard for him to learn. And because he didn't drive, he had to take the city bus, and he didn't know how to read, so that sometimes he would miss the bus and had to walk long way. And then when he walks, he would just get harassed, and it got to a point where my father just said, I don't belong in America, I'm not wanted here. And he would say, when I share his story, it's still hard for me, but he never felt like America was his home. And he used to tell me, he said, I want to study and get my citizenship. I want to go back to Laos, and I want to die there, because it was, I had to leave because of the war. But he said, I came here, it's like a different war that I didn't know how to fight. It wasn't like somebody's gonna come into my house with a gun, but it was just, people constantly calling his name, and spat at him and say, go back to your country, where you came from. When I go through tough time, I always think about him, and I remember him, and it does make me want to do better things because of him. I want to be a better person. I just want to make the world a better place, so that others don't have to go through the same thing, and for the Hmong children and the next generation. And so, yeah, it's definitely this journey has been one of, I feel like I've lived 3 lifetimes, and but I love everything that has made me who I am today. It took me 7 years to get my degree. I know, as a Hmong woman, but then also a woman, when I was going through college, sometimes I would hear people make the comment oh, she's Asian, she's a woman, everything just going to be given to her. But no, I work twice as hard. For you, you could just read like the chapter once, you get everything. Sometimes I have to read 3 times because, you know, I have to make sure that I really, really understand what the material talked about, you know. My siblings are older, I'm the youngest one, and so no one in my family went to college. And so you know, as hard as it was, you know, like to be a mom, to work full-time, you know, and to go to school, you know, I always tell my Hmong students that the best thing you can do is to give yourself an education, because no one can take that away from you. And if you have an education, it's going to open the doors for you and create opportunities. You know, never forget who you are, because that is who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you're not going to know who to be, or you're not going to know where you belong. And so I think it's very important for our youth to really learn their stories, you know, like talk to your elders, talk to your parents, understand, you know, like the war, the history, how did we get to where we are. If you know your history, your culture, you are going to be proud of who you are. And if you are proud of who you are, you're going to be more confident in other things that you go, in other spaces that you go to. If I could, you know, tell my younger self, I would say, we are doing okay, you know, and thank you for not, you know, giving up on me, you know, even though we, you know, went through some really tough time. You know, there were times when we were hungry, there were times when we were scared, that you were strong, and, you know, you fought and you struggled, and you got us to where we are today, you know. And so the message for anybody who is young is that if you're struggling right now, know that it's okay. Just don't give up. Keep pushing. You know, no, don't forget who you are. Don't stop believing yourself. You know, and, you know, if you believe in something, go for it. And, you know, I just want to tell my younger Blia that, you know, thank you. And, you know, here we are, you know, in 2025. I would have never thought in 1975 that I would be retired as an educator, you know, in the United States of America. But, you know, just chase your dream, don't give up.